Hi everybody, welcome to Storytime with Advait. You are listening to or watching to me, Advait Kharat, and today with us we have a very dear friend of mine. She has been a friend of mine for the past 8 years or more than that, and her name is Shivani Vartak. Shivani, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody who's listening?
Hello, I am Shivani Vartak. You got my name right. And yeah, I think I've known Advait since I was 12, right? I
Yeah,
think that's almost 9 or 10 years,
yeah,
not six. So that's
yeah.
way longer than you think. And yeah, now I graduated last year and now I'm doing nothing in
You are doing a lot in life, which I'm going to ask you a lot about. So tell them what you do. Tell them what you're up to now in life.
Yeah. So let me give you some backstory, okay? Instead of just like, hey, I'm doing this. So I graduated last year in March. And then after that, I had like a really adventurous summer. And after that, I came back to real life. And then I thought, what is the, like the perfect acha bacha part to take? And I was like, MBA. So I legit studied for GMAT and I gave the exam thrice. Thrice. And it kind of sucked the life out of me. And I realized this is probably not what I want to do. And if my parents are listening to this, I'm still considering it. Okay. But
Well,
my
what if
plan
they're
is
not? What if they're not listening to this?
then, yeah, then I'm never going to do this.
Yeah, it's not happening.
But yeah, I mean, my plan was to, like, so I graduated in psychology and anthropology. And I really liked anthropology, and that's where I learned about the whole concept of social enterprise. And a social enterprise is like an NGO, but we also make profits. But it's while solving a social problem or addressing a social problem. So I had heard about it, but मैंने सोचा no, I will do MBA first. Then I will go work for a social enterprise. No, wait. Then I'll go work for some big company, make some money, and then मतलब ऐसा I laid down the whole plan, which is
Right.
obviously not how it works. It was like,
Yep.
I'll get good marks in GMAT, then I'll do this, but वो पहला step ही नहीं हुआ. So after the third attempt, I was like, I think I need to calm down and reassess my life.
Yeah.
And that's when then I started looking for internships. I was like, the best way to break into this is internships.
Right.
Hoping that it was paid, hoping, but
Yeah.
मतलब अगर नहीं होगा paid, तो I was fine with it because I have enough privilege for now. So I found this company that I am working with currently. I'm not sure if I should say their name because I
You
have an
can you
interview with
can.
them in a few days, and then maybe I might be associated with it forever or not. So, but
Okay.
it's called Scrap. For now, I'll say it. You can cut it
Yeah.
out.
No, it's okay. You can see it.
Yeah, it's called Scrap. It's based in Mumbai, and it's a social enterprise. And it works in the environment and waste management sector. So what we do is we help big events and offices go zero waste. And zero waste, matlab zero waste to the landfill. So if you've been to NH7 Weekend or Pune, Meghalaya, those are
Right.
like really famous ones that people know about. Scrap manages their waste as well. Like we help them make sure that the waste that they generate doesn't go to the landfill.
Right.
So that is essentially what they do. I joined them. Actually, I got lucky. I joined them just before the whole lockdown happened. I joined. It was very funny also. Like I had the interview, and they were like, "When can you join?" I was like, "Tomorrow." They were like, "Okay, come tomorrow." And it was a Friday. I started work on a Friday, and the first thing was an event. मतलब मुझे कुछ पता भी नहीं है. First thing I go, like my first job thing is to go to a corporate event. And just
That's
like
a good
that, here
start.
I am now.
That's a good start, I
Yeah,
think.
I guess. It was damn random. But yeah, I think good things in life happen like that.
Yeah.
Unplanned, just like that. So yeah, that happened, and now here I am 7 months later. I think it's September now, right?
Yeah,
So
you've worked there for 7 months. How has your experience been, and what do you do in your job? You can explain. Can you explain what you do on your job, and how have you felt for the past 7 months working there?
sure. Um, so I initially, because I'm a very confused person in general, where I'm like, मुझे ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है. So I couldn't decide. So even when I applied to the position, I told them, yeah, I want to be a general intern where I do a little bit of everything. So I feel like I have enough uh, varied skill sets where I can help thoda bahut in everything.
Right.
So it's like jack of all trades, master of none, better
I
than
think
master
I
of
think
one.
I think I think that's been your life since I think you were a kid, because you were always jack of all trades. I've known you since you were a kid, and you have always been very good at a lot of things and a lot of things together. So even may it be sports, may it be anything creative, you have always been a part of a lot of different things at the same time, which I think is a great skill to have. Being multi-talented, I think it's a great skill to have. We'll talk about that a bit later, but continue with how you felt with your
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
Thank you for the ego boost, Advait. This is making me feel nice. But yeah, so I started off like that. I applied कि मुझे general internship करना. I can help with anything you need my help for.
Right.
And then the first, in the interview itself, they're like, hey, we have this ongoing consulting project, and we think you'll be perfect for it. I won't name the consulting company,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the company now,
yeah.
because let's not.
Yeah.
But the project is essentially I had to help them curate volunteering activities, and
Right.
then this is going to go up on that platform where people can access it. So it was very exciting for me because that this meant that I had to actively look up volunteering activities, then go and actually volunteer there on ground, talk to the founders of these NGOs or social enterprises or citizen groups. Then, so basically, I had to vet it and see if
Right.
it's good enough and if people can have a good experience. And then
Right.
we then create a page for it and everything. So when they told me this, I was like, yeah, this sounds perfect. This is, I mean, I get to learn so much, right? I get to meet so many different people.
Right.
And I was very, very excited about this for 1 week, and after that lockdown happened. So the calls went from, hey, I really like what you guys do. I'll be happy to come, see what you do next week. To after lockdown, someday we will plan. For now, I'll just write you email.
Yeah.
But
That's become
but
everybody's life. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in March, I actually told a few organizers, I was like, हाँ, June तक तो सब ठीक हो जाएगा. I'll come see you in June. And he was
Yes.
also like, yeah, June.
Yeah. Yeah. Cut to September and we are still here.
Yeah.
We're still
So
here.
it's okay. We evolved, and then
Yeah.
we did virtual volunteering activities. So that was
Yeah.
also
That's pretty cool.
I did get to speak to founders. I understood like the problems with within that space and the kind of challenges they have to face. So this I was doing for a few months, and then again one day, very randomly, my boss comes up to me and she's like, hey, listen, you have some experience in social media. And by experience, she means you have your own social media account. So
Right.
do you want to help with Scrap's Instagram? And I was like, yeah, sure, I can help, because honestly, I'm not. It's a paradox. I love pictures and I love social media a little bit, but I also really hate it. So
Yeah.
there are times that I'm just like, oh, social media, and then there are times I just want to live under a rock.
Yeah. And you just delete it, I
she
think,
said,
so many times.
I
You're
mean, I
just
didn't delete
not.
the account, but the
Yeah.
app. Yeah.
Yeah. The app.
Yeah.
The app goes away for a while.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
So when she said if you can help, I was like, I can do that, because I'm the youngest on the team, okay, and everybody else on the team is pretty averse to like any kind of pictures or Instagram,
Right.
Facebook, anything of that sort. So they were like, hey, you can do this, and I was like, okay, I can try.
Right.
So that started off like that, and now ultimately I'm leading their social media. I'm creating content for their social media. I'm planning everything. And I'm just like, "Ye kya ho raha hai? Who am I?" And this is even funny because a few months ago, another friend of mine was doing a social media internship. And I remember once at night I'd gone for a walk with her, and then at 9 o'clock, she's like, "Yo, shit, it's 9. I have to post something in 9 o'clock sharp." And then, "Ye kya bakchodi hai? What is this? Why do you have to? Oh shit, do you have to beat
No,
that?"
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Keep talking. It's okay.
Yeah. So she's like, "Ye kya bakchodi hai?" No, I said, "Ye kya bakchodi hai?" And then she was like, "No, it's that time thing. You need, like, this."
Yeah.
And I didn't. I was like, what has your life become? What is this? And then, she was like, "No, we have this Excel document with hashtags and la la la." And then now, cut to now.
7 months later, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I legit. We did have some hashtags, and I was like, "Hey, what's a good way to arrange them?"
Excel sheet. That's right.
So yeah, I'm doing that, and now again it's again evolved into content in general. We're also working on some other exciting content things. I'm helping them edit their videos, and
That's great.
बहुत कुछ random चीजें चालू है.
See, again, it comes to a point where you are doing too many things and too many different things, and you are still managing to do all of them at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is where I thrive. I think, like, if I just do one thing, I will be okay with it. But I like to do multiple things, and I love working at this place because they let me do that. And the best part of it is that they are doing this for a cause, and it's a cause I really, really believe in. Like, they're doing this for the planet, for our planet, and for our environment. So this is something that's very close to me. So I get to do all this creative shit while at the same time I'm doing this for a cause. I'm spreading a message. I'm spreading awareness. So that just makes me feel very.
That's great. That's great. And I think you have chosen this career path where you get to sort of care about the environment so much. Something in your mind clicked a few years ago, or even recently, that made you choose this kind of career path where you get to make a change, a substantial change to the world. You're affecting the whole world by making this small change, and you have chosen a career path where you get to do this every day, and you get to impact so many lives and the planet and the environment as a whole. So I wanted to ask you, what made you choose this kind of path? Because all of us read about saving the planet, but not everybody is making it into a career path, right? So what made you choose this particular career path that caters to the environment so much and makes your whole job revolve around it? So what made you go into it?
I think it started with the kind of college I chose and what I chose to study. Because in school, I was living in my own privilege bubble, and it's like, everything is nice. The world is such a nice place. But then, then I decided to do arts. Like, I got decent marks in 10th, and then people are like, Abhi, now you do science.
Of course.
And I was like, ye mujhse nahi hoga. I could do it ratta maar ke, but nahi karna tha mujhe. That's not something I would enjoy. So I picked arts, and for my graduation also, I picked psychology, I picked sociology, and I picked anthropology. I honestly, at that point, had not even heard of what anthropology is, and like, it's such a huge part of my life now. So these are all social sciences. Psychology, I'm sure everybody's heard of. And sociology too. Anthropology, let's just call it like a close cousin of sociology.
Okay.
You can Google that later. So it started off there, where in degree college we had to, for sociology and anthropology, we had to do a lot of reading. So our classes weren't like, ye definition hai, ye karo, ye padh ke aao. It was, we had conversations, we had discussions, there was discourse. Our professor would give us an article and be like, hey, ye padh ke aao, we will discuss about it.
So it's a debate. It's like an argument you have to
Yeah,
do
no,
in
no,
class?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't call it like a debate is still a lot more structured. Here it was just like a discussion where
Yeah.
she would. So she's given us an article and then we come in class and then she's like, okay, hey, have you guys read it? Do you guys want to talk about it? And she'd start a thread. Like she'd be like, yeah, yes, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. What do you
Right.
guys? And then, like, the floor is open. Anybody can speak. I can raise my hand. I can make a point. Somebody else can make a point. We can talk to each other. And that was so new for me in like the Indian education system. I did SSC and HSC. So uske baad, this was like a very different way of learning for me. And it
Right.
actually got me thinking. It actually made and forced me to think for myself. Like uske pehle you could have, like, till that point I think I just breezed to life with on other people's opinions. I was cruising on everybody else's opinions.
Yeah,
Huh.
as we all
Gee,
do up to a certain age.
yeah. And that's okay. Like maybe you're at that point now, maybe you will get there. Like it happens.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And then, like I just said initially here, where in anthropology is where I heard the concept of social enterprise. This was in my last and final year at college. And I was like, at this point in the final year of college, you have to start thinking about what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
And I graduated, I did like a half major in psychology and anthropology. So again, here I was trying to do two things at once, not being able to decide what I want to do. So then I was like, no, I really like anthropology and I like this whole concept of social enterprise. I was thinking, shit, do I want to start my own NGO? Do I want to work in a corporate? Do I want to work in HR? And then social enterprise just seemed like this amazing intersection of everything I wanted to do. I wanted to have something like a venture of my own and also help somebody, like somebody, something, anything. So I feel like I think everybody, all of us have like that a little bit of I want to do something good for the world, but not everybody acts on it. But
yeah, exactly.
Right. So I think for me it was a little too strong, but I was like, Nani, if I don't act on it, I'll go crazy. So
right, because all of us have that urge to sort of save the environment, do our part, but everybody is doing their part in a very little way, a very minor way, a very small way to help the environment or cut down anything that they are doing which is harming the environment. But you chose to go out and make this your career, which I think is a bold step and a very great step. I would appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. But I just want to clarify that it's okay even if you're doing, your tiny little steps, because that also makes a difference. Like, I decide I'm not going to put a wrapper on the road. And you're like, hey, that's such a tiny thing. But imagine 7 billion people saying the same thing. Hey, I'm not going to put a wrapper on the road. That's 7 billion wrappers not on the road.
Right.
So that's great.
Yeah, that is great.
I chose environment. So I started thinking about like social enterprises. And then after I decided this is what I wanted to do, I was like, I need to pick a cause now, because I didn't want to be a rebel without a cause, right? There are so many things that I was passionate about. And then after some soul searching and research, I narrowed down to 3.
Okay. What are those 3 things?
So one is definitely women empowerment, because you've known me since I was a kid. You know how averse I was to anything feminine when I was a kid, because fuck society. I was made to believe anything feminine is like weak and is not strong. It's just like a thing you shouldn't aspire to be. So I went to extremes for that. I used to hate pink because it was associated with femininity and everything. Yeah. And again, after I came to college, I read a little. My mind opened. I was like, hey, no. At least we women need to be there for each other. Like, I don't care if you're like the most feminine person or you're the most masculine person, whatever. You identify. I mean, I'm going to empower you no matter what. If you're okay with who you are. So, I don't know, it took me a while to come in terms with it, because in past me, I was shaming other people for being girly. And now I'm like, no, I'm going to stop doing that. And so that's one part.
Yeah.
The second part was, of course, environment, because, of course, because trekking has always been a huge part of my life. Like
Yeah.
trekking, adventure, outdoor, and I mean, we live in Vasai. You know how it is. There's fucking trees outside right now.
I know. It's a privilege living there in the middle
Yeah,
of so many trees and versus I think a lot of environment in general. We get to see a lot more of nature than
yeah,
anybody else in Mumbai. So yeah.
exactly. And I mean, I had a recent video call with my team here, and they were just like, "Hey, there's a lot of green behind you. Can we see?" And I showed them my body, and they lost their shit. They're like, "What the fuck? It's a forest." And I'm like,
Yeah, that's just a small part of where you live. It's not
yeah,
even the forest that is actually there near
exactly.
where we live.
Yeah. We grew up around this.
Yeah.
It's just a part of us. So I
Yeah,
was
it is a
okay.
part
It
of
was an
us.
obvious. Yeah, I mean, it's an obvious thing for us to be so connected to nature and environment. So
Right.
that was
Anybody
part
else
number
who
two.
is anybody? Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off. I think
Go ahead.
that is a part of everybody who lives in the suburbs ahead of I think Bhinder, because all of us are connected to nature, and people who live in Mumbai or in South Bombay of everywhere. But I think they don't get to see nature as much, and they're not connected to nature as much. But we have trees in our backyard, which is a huge privilege, and that is why I think we are connected to nature a lot more than anybody else who stays in a very metropolitan area. I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I guess we're the lucky ones. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of sad that you have to grow up in a city where all you see is like, but a street में चार trees हैं, three here, one here.
Yeah.
That's just I don't know. I
and
don't know.
and they're and
I
they're
wouldn't want
forcefully
to grow up
planted
like
there.
that.
They're forcefully planted there
Yeah,
because it's a rule that you have to have trees on the side of the
yeah.
road. They have been there just because it's a rule. Otherwise, they would have been cut down like quite some time ago. So it's a pleasure to live in Vasai, and I miss home.
Definitely.
That being said,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Vasai misses you too.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, I bet anybody who's watching this, if whoever is watching this from Masai, would be like, yeah, Masai.
yeah. Anybody who,
I would do that.
yeah,
If I saw something, anything on here where they're like, hey, Masai is awesome, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, to
Masai is
anybody
the
who
best.
doesn't know what or where Vasai is, it is on the outskirts of Mumbai and it is in the suburban area of Mumbai. People don't call it Mumbai, but we still think it is in the outskirts of Mumbai. And it is a lot of nature, a lot of trees. We have sort of forests. We have more than 7 beaches there. It's too much natural beauty, I would say. My house is surrounded by trees, so is yours, Shivani, and a lot of other people we know. And it is much more greener than anything or anywhere else in Mumbai. So yeah, it's a privilege to live there, and I love Vasai and I love where I live and where we come from. So yeah, I can see where the love for nature and love for environment comes to you, and
Yeah.
how it influenced your life to push your life and career into a completely different direction that what you had planned to be a few years ago. I'm sure 2 or maybe 4 years ago you weren't planning to do this at all, right?
Nope, not at all. I was planning something else entirely. Like, not even this whole MBA. सब मतलब कुछ भी था वो over the years.
Yeah, but I think every one of us has to change their tracks because in our education system we are supposed to figure out what we are going to do in our life pretty early, which I think is really sad. They're going to change.
Yeah.
They're going to change the Indian education system starting this year, which I think is great because it really sucked until this point, and I'm really glad that they're going to change it because we are made to make decisions really early in life, and I think our 14-year-old brains are not capable enough to make those decisions.
Obviously, man. But honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read enough about the new education policy, so I don't know if it's a good thing yet. At least it looks, what I've seen, it looks okay, but there are lots of glitches and loopholes in that can make life pretty shitty. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
too
but I
soon to
think
say
yeah, but
anything.
it's a 10-year plan. They're not going to jump right into it. It's going to
We don't
be
know
easy.
that.
No,
They just might.
they're not going to. According to the plan, they are going to ease into it by 2030, which I think is a great plan. And it, at least on the front that I'm talking about, where people are not made to make choices when they're 14 years old about what they're going to do their whole life, which both I and you and a lot of people I know had to make that choice at the age of 14, which was just not logical because I made a choice to choose engineering back then, which
So,
I which I absolutely hate, and you know that. And I wish I chose something in that artistic profession or something that was creative, so that I would actually like what I'm doing or what I'm studying. So now I am happy that our education system is moving out of that zone and going into even a slightly more progressive and I don't know, better direction. So I am really hoping that the kids who grow up after us don't have to make that choice at the age of 14, that whatever they're going to do for the rest of their life, they don't have to choose it when they're 14 years old, because that really screwed my life up for quite some time. And I think it derailed and wasted a few years that I had. And maybe that happened with you too. Did it happen to you? Or like,
uh, maybe not yet. Like it could have happened, but I guess I was lucky enough to at least have that chose arts. If I
hmm,
had done, I don't know, science or something, then I would have been on the same path, I guess, where I would have done probably engineering and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I
the
guess I was
usual,
lucky
the
enough
usual
to,
Indian
yeah,
kid.
yeah. I guess I was just lucky enough to have parents who were like,
Yeah,
yeah, do whatever you want. Which
yeah.
is also scary because then like the whole responsibility and onus is on you. You can't even be like, you fucked me up.
Yeah, you
You
can't blame
don't need
anybody. Yeah, because I can blame my parents for doing it. You can't.
blame. Yeah. But let's see. I mean, I think with the GMAT, I was kind of going in the direction of like a destructive path.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I think I brought myself back now. Let's see where I go from here.
Yeah. And
Let's
you're pretty young. How old are you? You're 21. You still have a lot to figure out. And I have a lot to
I'll be
figure out.
22 next month.
We have a lot to figure out. So it's okay. But it's commendable that at such a young age you care so much about the environment. You have changed your career paths to something that makes a change in the world. So thank you so much from all of us for caring so much about the world and choosing a career
Stop.
path that helps the earth. And that takes me to the next point that I want to talk to you about is about sports. You have always been into sports. I have known you since too long. You have always been in sports. You've always loved trekking and everything else. And you have always been in different sports. There was not one sport that you were playing amazingly well, but there were four sports in which you were playing decently well. So I wanted to ask you, if what would you choose, being really really good at one sport or being decent at four different things or four different sports? I know what your answer is going to be, but I want you to explain why you want to choose that.
Yeah, and before I answer this question, just wanted to quickly say that initially I said that there are three things I was passionate about. This
Oh
is the third
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
This is the third thing. So wow, you brought that up, I say perfectly. So you do know me. You know me well enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, sports is another thing that I also wanted to be a part of my life. So that's the thing. But to answer your question, I will definitely definitely pick 4 different sports over one.
Yeah, I know.
But
Explain why.
yeah, why? Abhi, you already know this. It's because I like to do different things, and I see there are a lot of people who I can always. Okay, let me articulate this.
Yeah, take your time.
Um, See, there are 4 sports that I'm playing, and then I'm decently well at them, and then I realized, hey, sport number 3 is really good. I'm really enjoying it. Then I can always be like, okay, now I will work on this. And others can still just be like a recreational hobby thing. Whereas if I'm just doing one, then I will never know what the other 4 are. Or with 4 sports, like if I'm playing one game, and there is like if I'm playing 3 games at the same time, ये sport में मैंने कुछ सीखा that can be applied to this game. So I will have that edge which other people won't. If you're just playing this game, they should be ये कहाँ से गाया? Like, hey, this is inside. This is advantages of doing everything at once. But yeah, I think that's why I like to do new things. I don't know if you could. Well, a lot of times people are like, yeah, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, my hobby is to try new things.
That's a great hobby to have. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think the world has. At one point, I was like, yes, okay, one day I'll run out of things to do, but that's not true. There are so many things to do. There
are too many things to do. Yeah. Also, anybody who asks you about your hobbies, I think it's too long of a list for you to actually list it. So it's okay to just say, it's better to just say, I just like trying things. And you do like trying things. You have done so many things in the past, I don't know, just 5 years. On the top of my head, which is you did a mountaineering course and you are so interested in trekking. You have always been interested in trekking and everything of that sort. And you did a mountaineering course last year, which you mentioned earlier was the adventurous part of your summer. So, would you like to tell everybody what that course was about and what you learned and how you felt through it?
Sure. So the mountaineering course was one part of the adventurous summer, and it was this was I think one of the most planned things in my life because I did it from Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, which is like one of India's best mountaineering institutes. And they have a 2-year wait list. Like you have to apply now. Like if I apply now in 2020, I get to go in 2022. So I had applied for it in 2017. मतलब 2017 में मुझे खुद पता नहीं लाइफ में क्या करने वाली हूँ, but I'm like maybe no matter where I am, ये course के लिए I will come back. So in 2017, actually 2017 I had gone for a trek and I found out about the course there. And then घर आते आते I was like, I need to do this, and I registered for it. Then finally it happened last year. A lot of anticipation and anxiety leading up to it because it just seemed so surreal. Advait. It was like that this is actually happening. It was a 28-day course in Uttarakhand and Uttarkashi. And I don't know, just a part of me before it actually happened just kept thinking, hey, this is a dream. This is not actually going to happen. This doesn't happen to people like me in real life. This is the kind of things, this is like one of those extraordinary things that happens in movies or like books that people write about. How is this happening in my life? So till the time I was at the institute, I still think, I was just always like, no, something's going to go wrong. Something's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Something will happen.
I had a similar feeling when I got to New York. When I actually reached here and when I saw the skyline for the first time, that's when it actually hit me that, oh, this is real and this is happening. Up till that point, I was like, no, it's not going to happen. It's just something I dream of in my mind. But when it actually happened, it hit differently. So I can I know that feel.
You feel me,
yeah. I feel you.
So the course was really, really good. I prepped a lot for it. I mean,
physically, you prepped for it physically.
And mentally as well. Of course, mentally is also a very big part of mountaineering, trekking mountaineering. Yeah, the course was amazing. It changed my life, honestly. It was 28 days. The first 11 now I might mess up the numbers, but I think the first 11 days were at the institute where we did a little bit of rock craft. So it was divided into rock craft, ice craft, and snow craft. So initially it was rock craft where from the institute we would go to this point called Tekla. It was like a training area. There were boulders, beautiful boulders where we would get to practice. There was an indoor, not an indoor, but like an artificial wall. And for the first 11 days at the institute, they kind of trained us for the mountains. We had lectures about first aid, about medicine, about what to do if an avalanche hits, all of those things, like theoretically.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, it was. Actually, the lecture was kind of boring because we were like, just take us to the mountains already.
Right.
So, and because we would wake up really early in the morning and then go running every morning, downhill running, uphill running. And then in the afternoon, in like this nice AC auditorium, they would show us these courses. Because I am a nerd, I would just be like, yes, tell me everything, I'll take notes. But a lot of people just dozed off during this time because it was honestly so cozy there. After the whole day's like morning's exercise.
Workout, yeah, after the workout.
Yeah, so I can keep talking about this course for hours and hours, but in summary, it was amazing. The highlights was that we all had to carry like really heavy backpacks. So even for practice, I would like carry like 15 kg backpack and just like climb up stairs for practice. But I thought it was easier in the mountain because like वहाँ पे तो इतना scenery भी दिख रहा है, right? You don't pay attention to what you're. Like at some point, I think I was carrying 25 kgs because I was also carrying the rope. And I was like, sky looks so nice, mountains. So it didn't really matter. But I made some lifelong friendships there, and it was amazing. And I was actually I was scheduled to do my advanced mountaineering course now in May, but thank you, Koji.
Your plans have been derailed like the whole world. So are you going to do it next year now?
Yeah, I don't know. So the thing is, this got postponed, and then we got a mail from the institute saying कि hey, October में होगा. They were like, it's not 28 days now, we'll cut it down to 23 days, and 5 days we'll have online, like ये जो lectures होते थे वो online हो जाएंगे. I was like, ठीक है, 5 दिन online is fine. But the online sessions were supposed to happen in August, which got cancelled, and it's September already, and they haven't told us about October, so I don't
think it's happening.
Yeah.
Thank you, COVID.
Yeah, a small part of me is still like maybe, but because I haven't rescheduled my course yet or haven't taken a refund yet. I'm still hoping कि कुछ हो जाएगा. So,
right.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's hope. I don't think it's happening, but what's there to hope?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one part of the adventure summer. Yeah. So the second adventurous thing that happened in the summer was an expedition, which was crazy because I did my mountaineering course. I came back home for 20 days, and then I went right back to the mountains. So
that is crazy. That is pretty crazy. And you went to Spiti, which is one of the most beautiful places in India, and during a time where it is the most beautiful, I think. Not in winter, but still pretty beautiful. Very nice place to be in mid-July, I think. Spiti Valley.
It was beautiful, honestly. It was. I don't think that is something I'll ever get over. But people are like, Abhi, you're living in that moment. That's why you're so happy. It will fade. It has not faded. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime moment. So that's why I think you'll never forget it. You will never let that memory fade because I know the whole story. I want you to summarize your expedition for everybody who's listening.
Summaries are not something I'm good at. But I will try my best.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were a bunch of people. Is it okay if I talk fast?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so there were a bunch of people I met here in Vasai who were like, hey, we go on expeditions, and I went on a few treks with them, and they were like, hey, we would like you to go on an expedition with us, because they knew I was doing the mountaineering course, which was like a basic criteria for me to go on an expedition. After the mountaineering course, they were like, कि अगर तुझे A grade मिला तो हम लेके जाएंगे. I got
Right.
my A. I found out that at the institute itself I'm going to get an A grade. I called the expedition leader. I was like, A grade मिल गया. And then he was like, okay, cool. I'm adding you to the group. Book your tickets. We're going. And I'm just like, what? Okay. And just like that, I am in the mountains. And then that's how the expedition happened. The plan was to summit Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks, where they had the same base camp. Same summit camp. And so we set up camp here. We go peak this, come back down, go peak that, come back down, and then go back. So that happened. There were a few difficulties and challenges. We were a team of 5 people plus guides and support staff. Because of whatever reasons, not everybody on the team could summit. And I feel extremely uncomfortable and braggy to say this, but I was the only one on the team who summited both the peaks and in 24 hours. So that was again like some next level high. Already I was like, oh, I'm in the mountains. Then I got to be on top of 2 mountains. So it was...
In 24 hours?
Yeah. So that is the summary. I think I did good.
Yeah, you did sum it up really well. So in the summer of last year, you went to a mountaineering course, learned all about mountaineering and trekking, and then immediately after that, in 20 days, you actually went for an expedition and you summited 2 peaks within 24 hours, which I think is an insane deal, which you should 100% brag about. But you've had a great summer last year. You were looking forward to something this summer, but it is not going to happen because of COVID. That's a huge part of your life, I think, trekking, and you run a lot. You cycle a lot. You do a lot of things to keep yourself in shape, to keep yourself fit and healthy. Fitness is also a huge part of your life. I know about it. And there's one very important thing I wanted to talk about, which kind of links the 2 important parts of your life, which is trekking and the environment. So I wanted to ask, how tough is it, or what challenges do you face when you carry sustainable equipment on your treks? Because I know you're not carrying any plastic because you love the environment, and you're obviously not littering. Nobody's littering in the mountains, but no sensible person is littering in the mountains. But how tough is it, or how difficult does it get when you carry something that is not plastic, which will not harm the environment? Because I think it's not easy to carry sustainable equipment to that altitude, and I know you have done that multiple times. So how hard does it get? I know you don't care about it, however hard it gets, because you will always choose the environment over anything else. But how hard is it, and what would you suggest everybody else to do when they are going for treks? So it's a 2-part question. Answer part-wise.
Okay. So let me clarify one thing. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by sustainable equipment, because
I meant you don't carry a plastic dabba. You carry a steel dabba, right?
Okay.
That is one thing.
So, okay. But honestly, it's fine. So, okay. The problem is not with plastics in general. The problem is with single-use plastics. So if I'm carrying, like, okay, I have a Tupperware bottle. That is also plastic. That is not such a huge problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to use it again and again and again. And this is like, it's like the grade. Never mind, let's just mess up about the technicalities. But this is a safe plastic. Like, you can drink water and it's safe for you. So the problem starts when it's single use. So it's fine if you carry a plastic dabba. But there are several reasons why you shouldn't, or why we carry metal dabbas. And this is especially true when you are going at even higher altitudes. So I remember even initially treks pe, I used to carry a plastic dabba and a reusable one. Of course, I would wash it every time I take my meal in. I wash it, whatever. Then for the expedition, actually for the mountaineering course was the first time they gave us a metal dabba, and on the expedition also my expedition leader was like, carry a metal dabba, and I was like, but why should
Right. I also want to know why.
yeah, I'm building suspense. Plastic wala is like bigger and everything, so why that? So for higher altitudes, there might come a point where you need to heat up your food, or there is not enough water, and now you have to melt the snow to make water. Now, if you have a plastic dawa, you put a burner under it, the plastic's going to burn.
Right.
But with a metal dabba, you can always use it as a utensil to
right.
heat things up. So that is the reasoning behind a metal dabba and like metal cutlery in general. Because you never know, dude. Like you think, that of course we research and all that and go and pick up base camps and all that, but कभी-कभी weather ऐसा हो जाता है कि there's like we can't go to that water source and now we need water, we don't have water. You have to, especially higher up where there is only snow. You have to melt the snow to keep yourself warm and to get that warm water, all of that. So now with this metal thing helps. Then why do you carry a plastic dabba and a metal dabba or a metal utensil? So just carry a metal dabba. That doubles as everything.
Got it. So, but there are things that you there are things that you carry which other people don't, which leads to some sort of single-use plastic. Like I know you don't eat Maggie on treks or anything that will make use of any kind of single-use plastic. So how tough is that? Because not everybody is going to. Yeah. That's
not. Like, I don't eat Maggie on treks is not very true. Honestly, I don't know if you want to cut this out or not, because at the expedition, for our summit camp, we had to wake up at 1:45, and there is no way you're going to cook anything at that point in the morning, not even morning, night, because it's just so cold. Like the flame just doesn't last enough, and it's too cold, and you're too sleepy, and a lot of things happen. And you can't even eat cold food because at sucking 20,000 feet, your appetite is not really functioning properly. Like you have to force yourself to eat. Like there is, honestly, I don't know if you're going to cut this anyway, but like I remember when I had to, force myself to eat a potato, just like a boiled potato. I gagged so much because my body was just like, no, I don't want anything in me. But nutrition wise, you have to eat it. So you're just like stuffing it down. So that's when we did have to eat Maggie or ramen or whatever, because that is the most instant thing that can happen, and it's easier to push warm things down your throat because at least it's hot. It's so cool. Like, okay, at least this is giving me some warmth. So we did end up having Maggie there, but like we took the packets and everything back. Of course, we didn't leave it there. That maybe would be a difference. But of course, I wouldn't. Like, on treks, you have all these dhabas and all that, jahan pe Maggie milti. Maybe I wouldn't engage in that, but I have done that. So I don't want to, be like, I'm the perfect person who's never done that. I have done that because I didn't know about it then. So I have done that. But now that I know, I don't do it anymore. It's like that. So I don't want to, I don't want people to think, oh, okay, everything's not perfect. She does everything perfectly.
What do you do differently that other people don't, or most of the people don't, or what do you carry in your backpack that is different, that sort of does not harm the environment? Like other people might have something that is not very good for the environment, is causing some sort of damage in those pristine areas where you are trekking to, but something that you carry which avoids that, or something that you have to carry that is sort of a hassle for you. What are those things? Yeah, actually, the first thing that comes to my mind is like my menstrual cup. And maybe to explain this better, I'll give you some backstory. And again, this is related to all menstruators, whoever is listening. But when I went for my first trek, like my first Himalayan trek, I was 14 or 15, something like that. And I was a new menstruator tub, and I was a new trekker.
So the first time I was super nervous. Okay, I was like, shit, what do I do if I get my period on the trek? What will happen and all that? And I used to use like normal apna pads, whatever, first fee, whatever, it's the deal. So I went there and unfortunately I got my period on the trek. And the instructor, that lady, was like, hey, it's fine, whatever, I'll give you pads. And I was unprepared, I didn't take pads. So she gave me pads, whatever. And then after she was like, there is a pit here, you wrap it in newspaper and you put it here. And I was just like, what? And she was like, yeah. And I'm just like, huh, you leave that here? Because we were in like this really, really beautiful place where we were camping. Like that was one of our campsites, and it was rolling, right? We camp here for one night, then we go ahead like that. And I was like, so I'm going to leave my pad, my used fucking pad at every campsite. And that really like mortified me. But because I was too young and I probably didn't have enough knowledge, I was like, okay. And I did that. And
yeah.
This whole idea, I was so uncomfortable with that. So I came back home, I did some research. I was like, how do people manage this? What is it? Like, ये क्या है? क्या कर सकते हैं इसका? Because I want to keep writing and I'm going to keep menstruating. So what do I do? Yeah, so I came back and I started researching. I was like, I need to find a solution to this, because I'm going to keep trekking and I'm going to keep menstruating, and I can't keep leaving my trash like this. This just made me very uncomfortable. So there were some solutions. People were like, use tampons, and I was like, हाँ, but tampons भी फिर भी वो भी डालना ही पड़ेगा उधर, या फिर क्या, like what do I do with that? Then I started doing this from the next trek onwards. Was I used to carry Ziploc bags, and then I actually had pads only. I didn't switch to tampons. So after I was done with the pad, I would roll it up very tiny, put a rubber band around it, and put it in that Ziploc bag. Ziploc bag, because I didn't want the smell to overpower everything, and also hygiene. Yeah, and so I would do that. So I started doing that, where I would, if I ever, and मेरा timing भी ऐसा था ना. Every time I went on a trek, I got
well, so, that is just sad.
This has happened every single trek. There was, I think, one Sayadri wala trek where I didn't get my period, and it was so unusual because I had so much free time on my hand. But yeah, so I would bring things back in the Ziploc bag. But that was still a hassle, right? Like,
yeah.
For anybody who's listening who, like women who or menstruators, can you imagine doing that? It was initially, even for me, it was like, oh, I have to do this. But I knew that the payoff was worth it. Like, I couldn't leave this there. So I used to get it all the way back to my house in Vasai. Like, ये Ziploc में stuff करके बंद करके, I would keep it in one corner of my bag. Now the sucky thing is that decreased the space for other things in my bag. So there was this constant blob of things. Even when I had to carry my pads, this one part of my bag would always go in that. And then the extra weight, all of that. So eventually, then for treks and for the environment, I found out about menstrual cups, and I was like, hey, this is something, like the first time I read about it, I was like, I'm not going to put things up my vagina. What the hell? I'm not going to do this. But then I read about it more. I saw more videos, and I was like, hey, women are doing this. Like, menstruators are doing this. So I could try that. So I ordered the cup. I tried it a few cycles. For 3 months, I didn't succeed. I kept trying to put it in and got afraid and didn't use it. And then one day, it was 16th of October. I know this because it was near my birthday, and me and my friend were supposed to go for we were supposed to go to a club to dance and everything. And my period made an appearance. And I was like, and I had this really short dress, okay, like really short. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to wear a pad with this. And so I was like, this is the moment. And I just fucking shoved that cup up, and it went and it stayed. And I went and I danced, and it was great. And ever since then, I've been using that cup everywhere. It has made my life better. And especially on treks and expeditions, it's amazing, dude. एक तो cards के लिए I used to have this much space in my bag, and the cup was like tasa, So,
and it does not leave any waste behind. There's no plastic.
It's not waste. No. And the best part is this cup is like a long-term thing. If I use it properly and if I take care of it, I can use it for up to 10 years. 10
That is
years!
insane. That is insane.
It is insane. So yeah, I think that is one of the biggest things. And I mean, other things are just basic things like if you like, even I used to for the longest time carry Snickers on my treks. Now I've switched to like homemade granola bars that my mom makes for me. So if you do carry Snickers and energy bars, don't put that trash there. Bag में एक जगह बनाओ,
Yeah.
उसमें डाल के लेके
Bring it
आओ.
back. Bring it back.
And, oh, and I want to, since we're talking about this, I want to also mention one more thing. This might be a little controversial, but again, this is something I used to do. I would be like, I take my camera, if I see kids there, I'm like, hey, I'll give you chocolate, you pose for me. But don't do that. And I stopped doing that because, one, I'm giving them that candy that has that wrapper. They're going to eat it, they're going to throw the wrapper. And they, I don't know, it's just, they kind of, it's just not something we should do because I don't know, maybe they kind of get used to it also, and then everybody. So, but dena hai to you can give your dry fruits and stuff. That is what I do. Like, see if they're genuinely excited to see you, anything you're gonna be like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, so now I do that. Like, I give them some of my dry fruits. Like,
Yeah, I've also done that. When I went to Kheer Ganga, I also gave some kids chocolates to take pictures with them. So yeah, not doing that again. And people watching or listening, don't do that.
Exactly. And see, it's fine to take pictures, but then this whole transactional thing, that's something I think I have a issue with. Like, you can just ask them, can I take your picture? हाँ बोले तो हाँ, ऐसा ये bribe क्यों करना है कि chocolate?
Yeah, but at this point, the kids are also so used to people offering them chocolates that when you ask them for a picture, they look at you and they want you to give them something. So I think all of us,
we need to break.
Yeah, all of us have to collectively stop doing it.
Yeah. And see, I don't know. Again, it's your call. I don't want to sound preachy or whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
You see what you want to do.
Yeah. In the end, it's your choice. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just our opinion.
Your rules.
Yeah. Okay, so we have talked a lot about a lot of stories from your life and a lot of things in your life that you have chosen to do. But there is one thing in all our lives that we go to when everything else goes to shit or when everything else is not looking so good, which is a creative outlet. All of us have creative outlets. I have made this creative outlet my career, but still there are different things that I choose to do when I am not feeling the best. So what are your creative outlets and what do you do when life is not looking so good and when work and everything else is weighing down on you? What are your creative outlets?
So again, for this, you must have known by now that there is not going to be just one thing.
Obviously.
So in general, I just want to say that in general, if I am feeling down and I need some energy, I would first try to do something physical, like I try to run or cycle or swim or something like that. But if you want me to talk specifically about creative outlets, then I think because it's a little bit of everything, I love to paint. I don't know, you can see some of my paintings.
Yeah, I can. Everybody who's listening cannot, but everybody who's watching can. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, just not all of them are mine. Some of them are mine. Some of them I bought. But anyway, point is, I like to paint to calm myself down, especially. I mean, this is going to sound very cliche, but whenever I'm like really, really sad, like I feel like the world is going to hell and everything sucks and there's no point to life and all of that, I make paintings, and it just happens coincidentally that my favorite color is also blue. So when I'm feeling blue, I tend to make paintings that are blue.
Nice.
And I swear I didn't do it intentionally, but I really love to make paintings that are blue. Like, I should have kept a painting here actually. It was here a while ago, but like I mostly like to paint mountains because I love mountains and
Mhm.
anything blue, like a landscape with like a blue sky and blue river or something. Just shades and tones of blue. I really love that, and it really calms me down. Just taking a canvas and giving it different shades of blue, letting it dry, and then you have to be patient, right? So you're
Right.
kind of forcing yourself to be patient in that moment when you're
And
so
calm
angry,
yourself
you're so
down.
sad. Yeah, and that with, of course, with like some really good music in the background. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, I think in these moments, I really like to listen to Hindi music. मतलब English है बोला हुआ सब कुछ cool है, but in these moments you need like this
Yes.
feels वाला Hindi music.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
think
If it's
yeah,
if it's late at night and you're painting and you just put on Kun Faya Kun, then that will hit differently
my God,
for sure.
yeah.
No English song can hit as hard as Kun Faya Kun. So
Yeah, and yeah, actually, I do end up usually painting at night because for some reason, night is usually the times where it's
all of
shit to
us,
be.
yeah, all of
So
us, yeah.
all
I
of
think
us,
that's not just you; it's all of us.
yeah. But painting is one. Then I also write a little bit. I don't know if I could call it a creative outlet because I don't write creatively. Like I don't write poems or I don't write fiction. I just like to. I don't know how this sounds, but I like the soothing feeling when I'm writing with my ink pen. I love writing with an ink pen, and I write cursive because convent school.
Same here.
Cursive thing, yeah. You know, we went to the same school.
Yep.
So, so just the act of writing is, I think, and that cause of the. Sometimes I do get stories in my head, and then when I'm writing, I start writing something randomly, and then just like some story comes up of some character. I have no idea who this person is and what this is. It just comes to me. I write it.
That's great.
It's not really. Yeah, this is not something I share though. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just very
but
random
it's
shit.
it's still a creative outlet. It still makes you feel better when anything is going to shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, dude, that diary is like right here. This is the diary. You will never see what's in it, but it's right next to my bed. I always have that because whenever, again, if I feel like, yeah, I really need to write or I'm just itching to write, even if it's nothing. There's nothing in my head, but I want to do the physical act of writing.
Writing, right.
Just start and I just write. Yeah, sometimes I come up with deep things, but sometimes it's just random shit like, hey, it is this time, I am cold, I am hot, I'm here, and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's one, and I think another one would be maybe, like, again, this is maybe cliche, but music. Listening to music is one thing, but also singing and like playing my guitar.
Yeah, you also play the guitar. Yeah, that is also a
Yeah.
creative outlet. That is, you're playing music. I think playing music is one of the most soothing things you can do for yourself. I can't play anything. I can't play any instrument, but still, I think everybody who plays an instrument makes themselves and everybody else around them feel really peaceful and at peace, calm. I think it's a good thing that you can play it for yourselves.
Yeah, honestly, I don't play it for anybody else because I don't think I'm that good. But that doesn't matter, right? I'm playing it for myself. I'm singing for myself. I probably have a horrible voice, but you know, the fact that I'm doing it for myself and it calms me down, it helps me center myself because then in that moment you're only focusing on what note do I play next, what note do I hit, how do I sing, do I know the words, blah blah blah, all of that. Okay, so honestly, I've spoken enough. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
One-sided, right? So I want to ask you, like, I mean, I probably already know the answer. I asked you this briefly, and I don't know if you already covered this, but can you tell me a little bit about like your creative outlet? And I mean, I think your creative outlet is mainly like making videos and all of that, right? So how did you come up with an idea for a podcast, which is usually an auditory medium? Like you listen to it, you don't look at it. It's not visual. I mean, you have added a visual element, but how, what, why, where?
Okay, so this is something I wanted to do for quite some time because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of creative people who I follow on YouTube or Instagram or anywhere. They are people who I have learned things from, and I listen to their podcasts. And I felt like these are the stories which I also have. These are not. I'm not entertained because of the stories. I'm entertained because I like that person. I like listening to that person. And I thought me and my friends and people that I know and the creative people that I know have similar stories, and other people might find them entertaining because I find other stories entertaining. I thought stories of me and my friends and people I know are might other people also might find them entertaining. And I made photography and filmmaking my career a few years ago. So that is not what I sometimes go to for my creative outlet. That is not my creative outlet anymore because it is work. It is also my creative outlet, but it is not the only creative outlet I have. I also write sometimes, but I think the idea for this podcast came from just the urge to talk. I just felt like sharing my stories. I just felt like I had so many stories to tell. I had so many guests who I wanted to bring on, and I wanted to know their stories. I wanted to share their stories with everybody who's listening. I don't even care if anybody is listening at this point. I just want those stories to be uh, on the record for anybody to listen anytime, because this whatever we are doing now, we don't realize this, but it's going to stay on the internet forever, right?
Yeah.
After we don't realize this when we are doing it, and we are putting up videos on YouTube. We are putting up I'm going to put up this podcast everywhere I can, and maybe nobody's going to listen to it now, but maybe 100 years from now somebody will look at this and they'll be like, hey, you know what, this is pretty interesting. So
Yeah, maybe you anthropology
yeah.
professor now this. They will study this. Oh wow.
So exactly, I did not look at entertainment like this before. I used to think like, oh yeah, that's a good movie or that's a good show. I watched it and then I forget about it. And I thought of my videos, my photos as the same thing. Like nobody cares about my photos or nobody cares about my videos. Nobody is going to watch them again after they've watched it once because it's like a one-time watch. But then I thought of it. I know. So I thought about it, and then I felt like these few hundred people who are watching my videos or are listening to this are not the only people in history who are going to listen to it or watch it, because someday after many years maybe someone comes across this and they find it interesting. And because our stories are our stories, nobody else knows them unless we put them up somewhere. So I wanted my stories to have a platform. I wanted everybody else I know their stories to have a platform. I also want to talk to a lot of people and want to get to know about their stories. So this is a very easy way for me to contact them and be like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Because I just want to talk to them. I just want to listen to them talk. So
It's like a non-creepy way to be like, "Hey, story bola, hey, story
yeah,
bola."
that is exactly what it is. I just want to, and I named this podcast Storytime with Advait because story time is my favorite time, and I want to know other people's stories. I want to tell other people my stories. So this is a perfect platform for me to share stories and get to know stories, because I'm here. You have noticed, everybody who's listening has noticed that I speak less and I let the guest talk more because I have known these people for quite some time, and I am very interested in listening to their stories, even though I have heard most of the stories from Shivani so many times, but it's still entertaining. It's still so much fun. So that is why I love doing this. I've done this for only a week, and starting a podcast has been a really good experience so far. I never thought that I could actually do it. I always wanted to, But now that I am doing it, I love it, and let's hope I keep doing this for a longer time.
Yes, yes. I can't wait to listen to all other podcasts, all the other episodes. Just let me know definitely when you start putting this up, man.
Yes. Soon.
Looking
This
forward.
will go up soon. Everybody who's listening, uh, consider following this podcast. Consider subscribing to the YouTube channel if you are watching this on YouTube.
Yes. Do it, do it.
Yes. So, with that, I think we will end this podcast right here. And thank you so much, Shivani, for sparing us some time and coming on and telling us all your stories and talking about them.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, definitely. I'm truly honored to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And everybody who's listening or watching, thank you so much for watching so far. And if you have watched so far or have listened so far, please consider following this podcast or subscribing to it on YouTube. I would just like to
Do
say
it.
thank you once again. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.